Hey everyone, just throwing together a quick video here to showcase a mod that I recently put up on the Steam Workshop for Tabletop Simulator. This is for the tabletop game Too Many Bones by Chip Theory Games. I'll have a link to their website down in the description there so you can check it out if you're not familiar with it. Basically, this is what they call a dice-building RPG, where you play the role as one of these heroes known as Gearlocks, and as you progress through the game, you'll upgrade stats and learn different skills, and the skills come in the form of different dice, which you roll and apply the results on. The game takes place over the course of several battles or encounters. Not every encounter has a battle, but the battles are played out here on the battle mat, where your Gearlock will face off against different baddies. We have all the different baddies right here in the form of poker chips. On the flip side of them is going to be all the stats you need to know. And throughout your adventure, you're going to face off against one of these 7 tyrants. Full rulebook can be found here on the table, as well as the adventure reference guide. Additionally, each Gearlock that you choose to play as has their own reference sheet to all of their skills, upgrades, some beginner builds that you can take a look at. I've also written a script that automates setup for this game. Basically, when you choose one of the tyrants, you'll see in the lower left corner here they have different symbols. Well, the baddies, as they're known, has matching symbols on each of those. These are the scale-based baddies here, for example. And you can see here's the goblin-based baddies. So what you're going to do when you set up the game is you pull out all of the baddies that have a symbol that match the tyrant card there. And again, all of this can be found in the rules, but what I've done with this mod is put in a scripted setup, so you'll find that here in the form of the menu here. So you're going to check one of the tyrants from these columns, whichever one you decide that you want to face off against, and then you have 4 different columns, one for each player, to decide what Gearlock they want to play as. Each Gearlock plays very differently, different strategies, different overall feeling to them, and that's going to be based on a seating position here. So here's player 1, here's player 2, here's player 3, and here's player 4. So what you're going to do is just select the tyrant you want to face off against and select what characters you decide to be. You can't select multiple copies of the same character, as that's not allowed in the game. And once you have all your characters selected, you're just gonna click start, and what it's gonna do is set everything up for you. It's gonna pull the chips out automatically, it's gonna shuffle them, it's gonna put the tyrant card in place, it'll set up the tyrant in the location, and you use this to track progress as you work your way up to the final battle. It gets rid of all the trash and junk that you don't need for that particular game. It's going to set your player mats and your reference sheets to the corresponding Gearlock that you selected, and it's going to prepare all of the dice that you'll need when you play as that character. And these are the dice that you can upgrade, and they represent various skills that your Gearlock has, shown over here on the map. The other thing I've added in is an automatic roller, and that's the Chip Theory Games logo right here, so you can just drop your dice onto it and it'll roll them for you. This is an offshoot and a rewrite to the Holy Roller that Mr. Stump has created. It's very popular. He's done a lot for the scripting community, so thanks to him, I wanted to give a shout out there. But once the game is set up here, you have all your different stacks of baddies, and again those correspond to the that particular tyrant. and you're ready to go. You're ready to play and start the adventure on the first day. Um, Let me reload it here. One thing that is uh, kind of unique to this game is they include different settings, a different deck of cards that you'll go through depending on if you're playing solo or playing with more than one gear lock. In that instance, I have also included in the automated setup, it knows if you're just playing solo with one gear lock, and it'll set up the encounter deck to correspond with that. So if we look under the first couple encounters here, and those first three are based on the rulebook setup. It's always the same first three rather. But if you look right here, you could see at the very bottom of this card, it comes from the solo deck, and all of these cards will. And it'll know that automatically if you just select one gear lock. I hope you guys enjoy this mod. I put a lot of time into it. There's some updates that will be coming out. At the time that I did it, I could only get these pretty poor scans of the mats, the Gearlock player mats, the battle mat, and the adventure mat. I was only able to get some pretty bad scans off of my phone, but the guys at Chip Theory Games have told me that they're going to send me the original files for these so I could make them top quality. And that's one of the big things about Chip Theory Games. They're not a big publisher, they're not a big designer, but the games they put out are definitely top quality, and I suggest you guys look into it. I received this game just recently and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's one of my top tabletop games already. The adventure is really fun. It plays in a relatively short amount of time. You could do an entire game within maybe 40 to 120 minutes depending on what tyrant you choose. Some games are longer. You could see in the bottom right there it has the 2 pips for game length. Some of the more advanced tyrants, the games take a little longer, but you get this really great feeling of playing very unique heroes with very unique skills and building them over the course of the game. You could build them in different ways. Each Gearlock has different kind of classes denoted by the different colors here on the mat, and you can't specialize in everything, but you can get a very different feeling from one game to the next just choosing different skills and different combinations. I really hope you guys try this game out and enjoy it. The automated setup makes life easy, so I hope you appreciate that too. I'm not the greatest programmer in the world, probably one of the worst, but through trial and error I was able to kind of muscle through it, and it really helps the setup a lot. Feel free to leave feedback down here in the YouTube comments. You can also leave feedback on the mod workshop page on Steam. I check that regularly. I keep myself subscribed to it. And I guess that's it. Happy gaming. Thanks for taking the time to check this out.